Welcome to Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. We apologize for the technical difficulties. In this world we live in, it's always something. But I want to thank y'all for being patient. Man, we got an exciting show tonight. I got my man, 20 Grand from back in Pittsburgh, PA. This is going to be an educational show, actually. And I want parents, I want coaches, I want everybody to be tuned into this because this is an important segment right here. And for a lot of you guys that have big dreams and you got that D1 or bust mentality, listen, you need to listen to this show. So coming up with this show, I want to introduce this man right here. Good friend of mine. We've been through the trenches together on the field. Dr. Ramon Hart, doctor. And with that being said, one thing I want to say about people, anytime you have relationships with athletes, you don't ever forget where you came from, and you don't never know when you're going to see a teammate down the road. We've known each other for 35 years, and to circle back full circle like this means a lot. How you doing today, Ramon?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, it's an honor to be on your show. I'm excited and just want to, impart as much wisdom as I can and share with your listeners and your young, your student athletes in particular and parents. So, hey, I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited to be on the show.
That's what I like to hear. So for people that don't know, Dr. Hart runs the Heart of the Game Consulting Services. And with the Heart of the Game Consulting Services, it's an educational piece for you student athletes that don't understand the process of getting recruited and being eligible. So Dr. Hart and I are going to touch on that today. And we've had some in-depth conversations earlier this morning and this afternoon. And man, he got me going back like, man, I need to get back on this. I need to get back on that. Because I'm like, oh, you got me scared now. But with that instead, all over the country. And again, I thank you all from all the bottom of my heart from all over watching. Ramon, we're going to touch on this, man. Tell me more about Heart of the Game Consulting Services, what you do, how you help the kids, everything. I want to know everything, including your background, brother.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you know, I'm a student athlete myself. Went and played football at Perry High School in Pittsburgh and got a scholarship to play football at Slippery Rock University. And, I went on, got my degree, got my master's, and went back and got my doctorate. I'll go through a little bit of that, but the one thing that I do want to say is that one thing that inspired me, I worked in higher education, first of all, for almost 20 years. And the thing that inspired me to go into higher ed was my teammates. As the years went on, when I was playing football, each year, fewer and fewer of the athletes were around. And, every year it would seem like a teammate was, wasn't coming back after Thanksgiving or, didn't come back after, from fall to spring, and so I'm sure you saw it as well, Dave. It just got disheartening for me. And so, by the time I graduated, it was only a handful. I played football, and it was only a handful that, that played all 4 years and was around after 4 years. And then there were guys that out of that very small group who graduated with a degree. And so It blew me away that dudes played for 4 years and did not have a college degree to speak of. And that was very, I was a different type of person, Dave. I carried a briefcase in high school. Hey, I had a lot of fun. I partied hard, but I also was about my books. And, my parents always instilled that into me. But I thought and reflected on that, with some of my teammates. And that's really what inspired me to go into higher education, because I wanted to help athletes and other students navigate the college setting so that they could get their degree. And so, to make a long story short, I went into Heart of the Game for the very same reasons. I've been seeing a lot of athletes have some wonderful opportunities, but they have to leave it on the table because they're not academically eligible to even accept their scholarship. And so just imagine being, blessed with some of the best skills in the world, to be able to be a part of that, that 2% or, that 1% if it's hoops, to go to college and get a scholarship, but you can't accept that scholarship because you didn't take care of the academic piece. And so after watching that happen locally, regionally, I started my own business and really just tried to help parents, student athletes, and even coaches, 7-on-7, AAU coaches, to really empower their student athletes so that they don't get in that position, that they understand the game. And that's how I talk about it. I talk about it as a business. And I talk about like understanding the game. Understand this game that you're in. It's a business, very much so. So, with that said, in terms of my business, I do customized educational consulting for parents, one-on-one with student athletes. And I do a lot of workshops, seminars, and work with schools and larger organizations as well, and even boosters.
Oh, and just to touch on that, Dr. Hart, even though, I'm gonna give you respect, even though we go back so far. With that being said, man, when you first told me about what you were doing, and I can speak from my own experience, you touched on really quick what you did with my son and how you touched on his classes and the schools. And you were like, yeah, he's good to go. The school's certified. And I sat back and was like, wait, well, what do you mean? And when you started to tell me, and I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. From that point forward, and that was back in August, I said, hey, man, at some point, let's get together because this knowledge needs to be spread out and your services are vastly needed, brother. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so with that being said, man, I know you said you break it down, but we're not really going to go into too much about your services right now. We're going to touch on what we talked about this afternoon. That right there, bro, I still been thinking about that all afternoon. I couldn't even work because I was like, man, I told you I had to go, but in my mind, I couldn't even think. I'm on conference calls. Like, I'm sorry, my mind is somewhere else because it's kind of scary what's getting ready to happen. Absolutely. And a lot of people don't understand, like with me and you talking and being in the know of the NCAA world, kids are, this is a COVID situation. So it's not a normal year, number one, for 2021, guys.
Yeah.
What you brought to mind today is even scarier. And I want you to touch on what we talked about earlier this afternoon.
Okay. And really just to quickly address that NCAA eligibility and then go into that, I think the COVID situation makes this whole thing even more important because, NCAA eligibility basically says you got to have your 16 core courses, that, you have to do 10 and 7, which means you got to have 10 of those core done before you start your senior year.
Correct.
You got to have your 2.3 or take a knee for Division I, 2.2 for Division II. There's some other things. I mean, and again, we could come back to that later. If you want me to go in more detail, okay. What COVID has done is it is waived the SAT requirement. Usually it's on a sliding scale that's in alignment with a GPA. So the higher your GPA, the lower the SAT you would have needed to become NCAA eligible and receive your scholarship to be able to practice and to be able to compete, to be able to be a full qualifier. Because of COVID, they waived a couple of things. And so because of COVID, no SAT or ACT is required. So as long as you had that 2.3 for Division I or 2.2 Division II, you are now in the game to be able to receive a scholarship. And there's other things like pass-fail courses. They're accepting those now. There's some more flexibility on online courses. There's a lot of other things, but what's important to the conversation that you and I had is that it's about to be extremely competitive for scholarships. Remember, you had all those dudes and all, ladies as well who may have not had that SAT, who you didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Because their SAT is not required now. Some of those guys, they're celebrating because they might not have had, if they had 3, that means they would have had to have a high, SAT. They don't have to worry about that now. So you're competing now with those individuals for scholarships. And so for the graduating seniors, they're competing against a larger pool of athletes for very few slots.
Okay.
And that's where, and then that's even before what we talked about, and that is the NCAA's ruling that all these athletes get an extra year, a COVID year. So now, not only are you competing against that larger pool of graduating seniors, you also are competing against graduating seniors or seniors who are really playing their last year, but now they got another year. So they're taking up a scholarship. So, that's something that people have to think about. And I know we want to go further. I don't know how much you want me to keep rambling, but
no, man, listen, this is your time, man. This is your time. And this is important, man. This is important. Like I said, what we talked about earlier, man, this conversation is needed, man, because a lot of stuff has to be brought up to the forefront where people just aren't paying attention. And then when you get to signing day or even pulling up on campus, you're getting the shock of your life because there's some things you were not prepared for.
Right. And so to that, in that regard, what's about to happen is Wednesday for football is an early signing period. You got schools that have seniors on them, and because let's say I don't even want to say a school. I don't want to put a school out there, but let's just say I'm a coach of a particular school, and I offered, all of these kids. I offered a ton of kids, I really didn't even plan on giving them all scholarships, to be honest. That's the game.
Yes.
I done offered like 200 kids, but I only got like 15 slots. So not only that, I only expected to get 15, but now I have maybe 5 to 7 seniors that I'm gonna keep, if it's football, maybe it's more. And so maybe I'm keeping all of my DBs now. But I got, 3 guys I was about to bring in, and all my DBs, they want to come back. Now I have to go back and tell these DBs who committed, you might have committed last year. They might have committed before COVID, or I might have to tell them, like, listen, I don't have a spot for you. I don't, I know you committed and that was our intent, but I no longer have that spot. And that's the brutal reality. And a lot of these, you got 2 types of coaches, probably more than that, but you got 2 types of coaches. You got the coach that's going to tell you now, but you got the coach that's about to tell you later.
Exactly. And man, we talked about this in depth, and that's one of the things that just bothered me so bad, because now you got a kid that, okay, coach, hey, I want to let you know I'm calling you to say I'm ready to accept. And like you said, he's sitting up here like, oh, well, some things have changed. Instead of just being upfront, like you said, previously, to say, hey, man, we don't have the money. You may want to look at some other options for this year because of COVID. And, I get COVID has changed financially a lot of schools. So some schools are strapped. They don't have the money, like we talked about, to offer these kids. And like you said, you have seniors coming back. And we all know a coach is going to take an established veteran over a newcomer because he knows the system in and out, right? Unless you a top 100 kid, then yeah, he got you because he's like, okay, you're going to make some dividends for the program. But most guys don't understand. And, you know, we talk about freshmen having an idea, oh, I'm going to come in and start from the rip. 95% of the time, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're not.
Right.
I don't care who you are. And that percentage is so low of freshmen that are going to come in and start and quote unquote be the guy.
Especially basketball. Like, you know,
yeah,
I noticed
basketball. Football too, man. Football
too. You know, you might have special teams, but you know.
Exactly. And so now we're going from, let's put that aside and say that small, minute number of kids that are going to be quote unquote the man or just getting a big share of time. Man, it's humble pie when you get to college. It is humble pie. You was the man and you might have been all world, and coaches will line you up and say, okay, freshman, tell me, what were you? And you'll hear guys with their chest all out. I was all state, or I was all region, or I was on a USA Today team. And as you go down the line, you start to notice, oh man, your team was good. My team was good. And the coach is trying to get you to understand, like, you all have something. That's why you're here. But in the same sentence, you all are not that. You all are low on the totem pole. So let's get that through your head. So some guys can't hack that from the door. So let alone this whole issue that we have going on with COVID, it's humble pie, but now we're talking finances and they're looking at you like, my man, I can replace you tomorrow. I got 30 guys waiting for your spot.
Yeah, that's humble pie. And, you know, one of the things, again, with my consulting that I do, I don't do recruiting. So like sometimes people will call, I get a lot of calls about, hey, can you help me with my recruiting?
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, like, I'm not a recruiting service. Like I don't, you know, profess to do that. My exclusive focus is on the academics and making sure that, you know, I'm auditing things and, you know, so on and so forth. But I do mentor. And that's where I'm like, hey, some of my guys, you know, that, you know, I that are my clients, I've said, hey, you might want to give your coaches a call right now. If you have not heard from them, you might want to give them a call and just ask them, hey, is my scholarship safe? Like, is, you know, I know you offered me, I know I committed, but, you know, how does COVID, you know, impact, you know, my scholarship, you know? And unfortunately, some of them listened to me. I got 3 guys who did do that, who found out that they don't have scholarships anymore.
You said 3?
I have 3 who found out through their phone call that they don't have scholarships anymore.
So you're telling me if they would not have made that phone call, they would have pulled up in August or early?
No. So the early signing period for football is Wednesday.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know how many people are listening, but I tell you what, if you don't have your national letter of intent paperwork right now in your hand, I would be making some phone calls, because right now everyone has their paperwork. You know, everyone who's getting ready to sign on Wednesday, they should have their paperwork in hand right now. And so, but, you know, again, a few weeks ago, a month ago, especially when the NCAA made the announcement that they're extending, you know, the eligibility. That's when I was telling people to check in, because, you know, some people were staying, and if they had 3 graduating DBs and they know that all 3 DBs are staying, they're not bringing in the same number of DBs.
Yeah.
And just because the NCAA did say that schools could carry more players on their roster, more scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that the universities have the money to do that. Athletic budget is the athletic budget. So all football programs, for example, all basketball programs, they don't have the ability to cover additional scholarships. So some of these programs aren't going over that 13 scholarships for D1, D1 basketball, 85 for D1 football. They might not go over that because they don't have it in their budget. They lost revenue from COVID. It's not like their budgets are expanding now. They're doing the opposite. So that's what's causing them to have to, causing them to have to tell athletes that they no longer have the ability.
So let me ask you this as well, Dr. Hart. And this is what's been going through the whole recruiting service thing. It makes, and I've talked to numerous coaches, guys don't understand how much more attractive you become as an academic prospect.
Yep.
Because now, especially in this COVID time, where they can give you some academic money to go with your Pell Grant, if you're a full Pell, whatever the case may be, now you're talking business. And man, I just want you to touch on that, man, the importance of that too.
Hey, you know how it is. Like, coaches don't want to have to worry about chasing the player either. Like, and that when I say chasing the player, that means that borderline, academic kid, they get in and you got to chase them. You got to make sure they're in class. You got to make sure they, they're always, you don't really want to have to worry about, did I just burn a scholarship on somebody who's not even going to go to class, be eligible?
Yeah.
So, if your grades aren't tight, that coach could think that you're not really,
serious.
Like your coach that's going to come on, Coach Sloan, right? Carnegie Mellon. He's not trying to, it's a 2.3, but if you got a 2.4, that ain't, you're eligible, but that's not positioning you in a way that you're going to be competitive against this guy that got the same skills with a 3.5.
Exactly.
Exactly. So if I'm a coach, I'd rather go after the guy that got the better grades, because I know he's going to come in, he's going to be disciplined, he's going to be about his books, and I don't have to, I put my name on this kid. So I don't want me to look bad. I brought a guy in who, is not going to go to class and cause everybody headaches. So you got to have your academics tight. And the thing that about all of these lenience, this flexibility the NCAA has given regarding, like, saying, hey, you don't need the SAT requirement, the SAT now to be eligible. That doesn't mean that the university that you're going to is saying that. That has nothing to do with it. NCAA can't tell a college admissions office to lower their standards. That's the individual university's call. And so, I know when they did this, I think, I wrote some stats down. 23%. This is as of July. 23% are test optional, basically.
Yes.
And for 1 year, they're going to be test optional. You don't have to do it. 19% have said they're permanently going to be test optional, even after this year. 37% said that they are requiring the SAT and the ACT. And then 21% said they're still trying to figure it out. They're unclear about whether or not they're going to, require an SAT. So you really don't, just because the NCAA is waiving that SAT requirement or ACT, doesn't mean the university is. They may indeed require that as well. So I don't want athletes to think that they don't have to take the SAT and the ACT, because you do have to take it. You don't want to not take it and then have a scholarship offer from a school that is in that, 37% that said, I want the SAT, ACT, forget, hey, COVID, I understand, but we want that SAT, ACT.
So what's going to be the difference? And this is a question, man, you can help me out with. So these schools that are test optional, what's going to be the judging point to say Ramon's a 3.5 and he has an 1100? Let's just say David's a 3.5 or 3.6, and I didn't take the test. I mean, how are you going to choose that? Or how do you want to, and let's take it down a notch, Dr. Hart, when I say that. Let's take it down a notch. Let's just say we both are teetering on that 2.9 to 3.0, but this is a higher academic school, and they're only going to take one of us. How are they going to determine if I determined not to take the test and I chose not to, but you chose to, and you did okay, but you didn't do exceptional?
So if it's football, do you run a 4.4? If it's basketball, are you 6'6" point guard that got a silky smooth?
Well, let's just go. We have the same skill set. We're gonna go with the same skill.
All right,
we're gonna go with the same skill set.
Hey, and this is my opinion. Like, I'm not a college recruiter. Maybe Coach Sloan could, I'm just saying it's a business. Like, that's how I talk to students. This is a business. Like, this is not a fluffy game, that we play for fun. This is a business. So college coaches are in it for the business. I mean, they care about the kids. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying they want to win. And so is that player going to help me win? That is going to be the thing that kind of pushes them over the top, because we all know that coaches have influence when it comes to admissions. So, if they're both even, then it's going to be a matter of who does that coach want more. Now, if they're both if they're lopsided now, sometimes coaches have a hard time, pushing certain kids through the admissions process because their GPA is too low or their SAT is too low.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a better, they'll have more success with the SAT because of COVID. Like, I think coaches are going to have more, to kind of lean on, to say, hey, come on, look at this past year, it's COVID, as long as that the GPA is acceptable. But you can't be, you can't have a low GPA and you didn't take the SAT, that's going to be hard for certain schools. If you're not getting to Georgetown with a 2.3, that's going to be, unless you 7-footer that can hit that corner three, but hey, that's my opinion. With recruiting, I feel like I have a good grip on it, but it's a black box, to be honest. It's not black and white, man. I've seen kids that I didn't think was going to go D1 who went Power 5, and I was I watched the play. I'm like, I didn't think so, but somebody else did. Sometimes they're great. So
let me ask you this, Dr. Hart. With that being said, when should somebody reach out to you and at least start getting some type of introduction? Should it be 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade? When should all this start to say, hey, you need to start focusing on this now? And this should really be for the parents. Yeah. Because, kids is going to look at you at 13 like, all right, man, whatever.
You mean academics, right?
Yeah, in regards to
when it should be
when they should start understanding. Okay, and I'm just going to keep it 100% with you. Mine was coming into 9th grade last year, and when I started to see you, doing this, I reached out to you and was like, hey, man, tell me some more about this. And of course, that was 9th grade, so I was like, okay, and you pretty much educated me. Okay, Dave, he needs to do this, 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 and this. His classes are good. So should it be somebody in 8th grade? And I'm not saying it's never too late in 11th or 12th, but what do you think would be ideally to say, hey, Dr. Hart, can you help me adjust my kid in 8th going to 9th, 9th going to 10th? Go ahead and touch that.
8th grade is if parents would, and again, I'm not in this for the money. I want to do well, but I'm really in it because I was tired of seeing kids not meet the requirements. If I honestly believe that if parents knew how the game in the 8th grade, their kids would never, they would always be academically eligible, because
and they move different.
You got so much time to adjust and to troubleshoot. But 8th grade, because now you can kind of like, okay, no, you know what to check for. Like, forget all them study halls in the 9th grade and all, you make sure they got that math, that they got the science, that they got, the social science, that they taken a foreign language. You want to make sure they do that, because some guidance counselors, they may have made some prejudgments about your kid, and they might not put them in them classes. And then understand that just because they got a social science class don't mean it's an NCAA approved social science class. So you gotta know what the NCAA approved classes are for every high school. And that's why, I have clients all over the country, 7 states, and the standards are the standards. It's, every school has a list of NCAA approved courses that is within the NCAA eligibility portal. And that's really what parents should have. They should have it in their hand. And when their guidance counselor gives them classes, they should be looking at it saying, okay, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. And make sure that they don't have some garbage on their, on their course schedule. That's important to do. If you do it early, it's a coast. Like, you could coast through and make sure that you get those classes done before you start your senior year, because you need 10 of those core courses before your 7th year. Yeah. So.
Okay. So, and the other thing I want to touch that, you brought up that's, just beyond important. So one of the big things that's popping up here in Atlanta, and quite honestly, I'm involved in it a lot, is postgraduate work. So explain to me what you can do when you come out of high school and what you can make up in that 1 year, because people are thinking that you can go to postgrad and make up 6 classes.
No.
Exactly. Right. So can you explain that?
So now in the COVID area, they just changed it, actually. So it's 6 credits, 6 credits. So when you think about you needing the core that you need, you need your 16 core classes. So you now can take, after you whether you graduate on time or not, you could take 6 credits, which really is like 2 classes.
Okay.
So you can't do 4 years of high school and only have completed, 10 classes, or you have to make sure that you've gotten at least in an earshot, and that would be 2 classes short.
2 classes short.
That's out to be right now is 2 classes, 6 credits. So it's usually
that you can make up
3 credit classes that you can take to count towards your 16 core. That's to be eligible your first year.
So with that being said, and I understand this, and it's unfortunate, but what about the guys that go to summer school throughout high school? So with that being said, like, let's just say, when we was coming through, there would be a gang of cats at summer school. And before these rules were instituted, that would work. Well, those days are gone. You can't do there was some guys that went to night school and summer school, and they went from Prop 48 and they was eligible, but that doesn't work anymore.
It depends on if it's a remedial class. So summer school, actually, so my son, I put him on a schedule to graduate early. So he graduated early and enrolled a semester early.
Okay, I remember.
He did classes in the summer, but they were NCAA approved courses, and
but they weren't makeup classes,
they
Ramon.
weren't
What I'm saying.
makeup. That's why I'm
Exactly.
saying
Yes.
they weren't makeup classes. So but it was summer school. So I'm an advocate for summer classes. So
I am too, but you're
but
talking college credit classes, though,
right,
right?
not retake, like not
Exactly. That's what I'm talking
not
about.
the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's very different. And there are rules around, those classes that you retake, because if the NCAA has some standards around how much time it takes to complete a class, and if it doesn't meet a certain level of academic rigor, it does not count. So if you got an F in math, and then you retake it in the summer, and depending on how that class is structured, like that, it doesn't count. It's not considered an NCAA approved class, that class you took in the summer. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. So with that being said, could I call Hart Consulting Services and say, hey, could you tell me if these summer school courses are approved? And you could come back and tell me yes, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's,
okay.
That's a good bit of what I do. I mean, that's the first step, is doing an audit, an academic audit of the transcript, to be able to say, hey, here are the classes that that are approved, and give parents feedback. 'Cause sometimes they just don't know, and they want that assurance too. Sometimes it's just good to check, because unfortunately, again, I wouldn't ever say a school's name, but I have come across dozens of times where high school guidance counselors have misled student athletes and parents around what's NCAA approved and what's not. And the NCAA does not care about that mistake. Like, they don't see it as the guidance counselor's job.
That's crazy. I mean, and for you to say that, and the counselor could just be out here reckless, telling, oh, take this, 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 and this. And then a parent is saying, well, we went by what the counselor said. And, the NCAA is like, well, you should have checked, or you should have double checked with your school. How many people outside of people that are really into this and, research this, and even with researching it, because I'll be the first to tell you, man, you opened my eyes. I mean, I came in, oh, yeah, I know. When I got done talking to you, I was like, hey, is it, I want no problems, because, but I mean, you already assured me, my son was on the right path. You already assured me, but I can only imagine, like, there's kids out here, like you've been saying, man, it's almost scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it changes. It's a moving target. It's tough. Like, it's not the same forever. Like, it changes. You got, like, for instance, a school can have an NCAA approved course, but they let it expire. Like, it has to be, you got to renew it. Course names have to be accurate. It all has to match up. And, to be fair to guidance counselors, they got a lot on their plate. Sometimes they're assigned hundreds of students. And so it's hard to go, think about it. Our educational systems really, some schools aren't the best. Like, they're trying to manage, their schools in terms of behavioral and so on and so forth. So, it's a lot to just put on one guidance counselor to go through. I spend hours on one transcript, making sure, double checking, because I never want to make a mistake. I don't want to ever say a kid is cool and he's not, or she. I mean, I just don't want to make that type of mistake. So I really do take my time with those and troubleshoot them.
So let me ask another question that I have for you as well. That's, so I know you do the audit. So when it's time for me to graduate, are your services still covering to say, okay, I'm a senior and I'm getting ready to roll out of here? Are you going to do that final audit as well?
Absolutely. Yep. I do that. And I also make sure that I let people know what their GPA is. I have what's called a heart of the game core calculator. So as they take classes, like I'll have some guys text me like, "Hey, Dr. Hart, I just got my report card. Could you tell me how this impacted my core GPA?" Because it's kind of tricky if you don't know how to do it. So your core GPA is way different than what's listed on your, on your transcript. Like that, the GPA on your transcript has nothing to do with your core GPA, nothing at all. Because it got gym in it, it got computer tech in it, it got all kind of stuff in it. So I'll do that, and then I advise people on their majors. So especially the college-bound athletes, the thing that I'm big on is saying, hey man, take advantage of this free opportunity to get a scholarship and major in something that you could take care of your family, your future family. Don't pick the easiest major. Pick something that is going to help you, have a sustainable, just some sustainability as it relates to finance. So, yep. I see some questions.
Yeah, so some questions is popping up. So one of the first questions that Dr. Love was asking, he said, new postgrads are popping up every day because of COVID, and, kind of an inside joke. And unfortunately, we touched on this a little bit earlier, Ramon, when we were talking privately. I want to say this, and I want to say this and be clear. I'm an advocate for postgrads because, yes, it does give kids a second chance athletically and academically, but also ethically, I need to see a postgrad that's on the up and up. So with that being said, are you ever going to be to the point where you start checking postgrads, and if this is something, a family could come to you and say, hey, is this postgrad legitimately going to help my kid?
It's really, every situation is different,
Okay.
So I'll answer that by saying, why are you doing it?
Okay.
Tell me what your goal is. I mean, that's really how everything starts. Is like, what is
Correct.
the goal? Like, and what do you have on the table? I'm big on like, what do you have on the table? Mm-hmm. So, if you got a scholarship offer on the table, and you're saying you want to go to this prep school to raise your profile so you can get a bigger offer, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be with that. I am not going to recommend that.
Okay.
If you have a scholarship offer on the table, take it and go to, make decisions off of the offers that are on the table. Okay. Like not this wish thing, this wish list, because that doesn't, because if you can go there and after that, you might not even have the one you had.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So that's my advice. And then it's a business decision. How much does it cost? Just putting yourself in debt. Like, okay, so you're paying what, $29,000 to go to raise your profile so that maybe you could go to a school like that ain't recruiting you right now. Like, I just need to understand, and then again, I'll give my opinion on it, but that's not, that isn't my it's not a lot that I don't focus a lot on telling people how to make decisions. But when I'm asked, that is generally how I respond. About JUCO as well. JUCO is the same thing. I have to watch how I say, stories, because people can figure them out. But there's young men who they have offers on a table. They opt to go to JUCO, and then when they're done with JUCO, all the offers they had on the table are off.
Yeah, because 2 years. You're 2 years into the game.
They're accepting offers that were, lower profile than the ones that they had. So, hey, take what you got. Be happy about getting that free education.
Got you. So, man, as always, I appreciate you, man. Is there anything you want to really touch on? And matter of fact, we're going to take a couple questions. Go ahead and post that back up, Dre.
Does it help to have an app class or just the core class? What's an app? What's an app class?
I don't know. That's beyond my realm there. He'll come back to that. He'll come back to it and explain it to him in a second. Dre, is there any other questions that we had? And what's up, Malik? Ramon Malik's watching. Malik Hightower's watching. He said, "What's up?"
What's going on, Malik? Jump out of the gym, Hightower.
So,
an AP class. He said, "Oh, an AP class."
Okay.
If that AP class, so AP classes are listed or not listed on the NCAA approved list. So if you take AP English, for example, you go into the NCAA portal to check the approved courses, that particular AP class will be listed on there. But you just got to make sure it's not guaranteed. Like there could be an AP whatever class. It could not be a core NCAA core approved class.
As an AP class, though?
And there's honors classes that are not always, it's just not intuitive like that. And that's how parents get in a lot of problems because they think based off the name of the classes, automatically going to be NCAA approved. And that's not the case.
And listen to how crazy that sounds. Like, let's just say you don't know, like you say, oh, my son's taking AP and honors classes, and this is senior year, and for the heck of it, because what we're going to do this year on our AAU program, we're going to use your service to make sure all of our kids are straight. But do you know how crazy that sounds to say, oh, well, we got a kid that has a 3.6, but he's missing like 6 classes, or that's a lot.
Usually
2 classes.
It's usually 1 or 2. Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And again, through troubleshooting, like I had a couple guidance counselors who had to update, with the NCAA because there's an approval process. So the NCAA has to certify, the class. So they got to review the class, review the syllabus, and then they say, okay, this is on a list. So if a school, like for instance, makes a new class, a new AP class, but they didn't vet that through the NCAA, it may not have showed up and it didn't get it reviewed and approved yet. So a lot of times those schools have to submit it so that the NCAA can approve it and then put it on the list. But it is not automatically on the list.
Why does it take so? Is that the school's fault, or
that's the school's fault? That's definitely the school's fault because they got to submit it to the NCAA. They don't know. The NCAA don't know what all these different high schools are doing. So
crazy.
Unfortunately, you got high schools that don't necessarily, maybe they created a class and it doesn't meet the NCAA's rigor standard, So that, to their defense, they got to make sure that they do those checks and balances.
Definitely. Hey, man, one other thing, man, we can sit up here and talk all day, that, but I definitely want to make sure, do you have a website or anything that people can go to check out the Heart of the Game consulting services? Yep. Can they go on Twitter? Let the people know, man.
It's Heart, H-A-R-T, that's my last name, of the Game Consulting. And if you Google that, it'll take you to my website. I do free consulting. The first one is, just talking to you and seeing if there's a fit. That's free. There's no charge. And then we go from there. But again, it's, very economical and affordable. It's not, I don't try to hit people over the head. I just want to make sure that our student athletes, are taken care of and not exploited. We want them to do well, man, and be successful, ladies and men. So.
Definitely. Hey, man, I can't thank you enough, brother. We go back over 35 years and we can sit here and tell stories and war stories all day. But the one thing I'll say with pride, man, Mr. Kinzel made sure, bro, that, this was something, this is just part of us giving back to the youth and what he did, one of the many mentors that we both had, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a legend, man. shoot, Mr. Kenzel, man, he poured a lot into us, loved on us hard. Sometimes he might have gave us an elbow to the rib cage, but you need guys like that that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
And you know, from Mr. Kenzel to Mr. Frank, you know, I was getting ready to touch, you know, Frank. I can't forget Frank. You know, that's a legend in itself, and you know, we can sit here all day, but it's those mentors that we had to have us sit here, man, and be able to give back and tell some of those same stories. And man, we could just thank both of them, man, for pointing us in the right direction, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. So hey, thanks for having me, man. I know you got Coach Sloan. You know,
definitely, man. I appreciate you 100%, man. And you know, this one for the city, man. This one's for the city.
I gotta come down to Georgia real soon and see you. And
come see me, man. You know, my son want to meet you too, man. So definitely come through, man. And man, thanks for coming through, man. We'll talk soon, man. This is Dr. Hart. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
All right, take it easy. Coach Sloan, man, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, man. Sorry for going a little over, man. But you know that educational piece, man, you can get a little passionate about it sometime, which is leading up to why I have you, and with you being a high academic school at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh as well. And, you know, the one thing I wanted to touch about that was this huge, like, people don't understand what high academics, especially at the UAA level, the UAA conference, you guys, even though you're D3, you guys travel like low majors, man. And people don't like when people understand what you guys do on the UAA level, it would open up a lot more eyes. And outside of the powerful alumni that you have, the quality of school that it is. And that's why I wanted to bring you on the show so people can understand who's Carnegie Mellon, what is the UAAA, what do you get out of a Carnegie Mellon degree? I'm gonna let you just talk up the school and prop it up today, man. How you doing?
Oh, well, I appreciate the chance. I mean, obviously, you know, Carnegie Mellon's name. I mean, people, you know, think of the academics, and
correct.
Obviously, we like it that way. That's who we are, and we're looking for guys that value that in the recruiting process. I mean, obviously, we're looking for the best players we can find, but you know, you have to be the top of the top academically, you know, to qualify, because that's, you know, our admission standards are the standards. I mean, they're not dropping for athletes. And so that's something that we look for as a program, but, you know, as a school as well. But, you know, we can talk a lot about the academics there, but you mentioned the UAA, you know, the UAA conference. We have a nationwide footprint. We're the only Division III conference that has a nationwide footprint. And it's fun, man. I mean, just selfishly speaking, you know, we get to travel to all these cities, and you know, we travel more and further than some Division I conferences.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, in the same weekend, we're in Chicago and St. Louis, or we're in, you know, New York City and Boston. It's a really
or
cool
Atlanta.
experience.
You're down here at Emory as well.
And Atlanta and Rochester. It's kind of the odd pairing there, but I mean, it's cool. You know, we get a chance to see a bunch of places across the country. You know, a lot of places that our alums or guys end up working, you know, when they graduate. And so, I mean, constantly our guys are talking about the comfort level they have in a lot of these cities because they've been there 4 times, right? They play in Atlanta every year. So when they get a job offer or an internship in Atlanta, it's not new.
They've already been there. Yeah.
Yeah, they have that comfort level. And I just think it really helps.
I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, even from an academic standpoint, we want to step off of that for one quick second. People don't understand the UAA is a quality conference, and you guys send people overseas all the time. So touch on that for me, please.
Yeah, I mean, the UAA is a top to bottom Division III conference. You know, we had two teams this past year ranked in the top 15 in the country all season long. And so when you're talking about you know, competition level, I mean, there's no nights off. You know, it's, you know, we joke all the time, if you want a cupcake win, our conference isn't that. You know, there's nobody that you can go into that's going to be an easy night. And so
exactly.
You're playing the top talent in Division III. A lot of our all conference players those guys had Ivy Patriot, interest,
Yeah,
right? I mean, they might not have gotten the offer, but they were talking. They were in the game. I mean, they're Division I level kids, and so those are the guys that we're looking for. Those are the guys that we need to compete in our conference. And then you mentioned it. I mean, listen, yeah, you might have more visibility if you go Division I or you go to certain schools in terms of playing pro, but if you play and you play well, you're going to get looks. What there? I mean, you look at Rochester. Rochester has a graduate who's arguably one of the better overseas players, from the U.S. and he's a Division III guy. And Tony Wing and our head coach, this is his 31st year in Carnegie Mellon. He's had a handful of guys go overseas. I'll tell you, we probably would have a few more, except they got 6-figure paydays coming out of Carnegie Mellon, and they said, "Nah, I think I'm good. I'm gonna go take this job instead."
Hey, listen, and that's huge, and that's what I've been advocating for. Whether it's D1, D2, or D3, it's a situation when you walk out of school. I mean, we know the job placement rate at Carnegie Mellon. We know that the big companies are going to come there and be looking for those type of graduates. So it's about not only a fit athletically, a fit academically as well.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the number one thing I talk about. And, in our process, and I know every coach is different, when we reach out to somebody, we don't talk a whole lot about basketball early. And I say I wouldn't be calling you if I wasn't, if I didn't like the way you played. So obviously there's, we see a fit athletically, but for us, I mean, I want to spend a lot of time talking about the academics. We're not a school for everybody. We're not a school that everybody can get into. And so, we spend a lot of time to make sure that piece fits because, I mean, listen, I get paid to coach basketball. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. All right. But what happens if that goes away, right? What happens if you get hurt? What happens if something doesn't work out? I mean, you have to like where you're at, and so, I mean, we say it like we try and be really transparent because let's face the facts. I could lie to you and I could make Carnegie Mellon, tell you all the great things, never tell you anything, anything that you might not like. But when you get to campus, you're going to figure that out. And if you don't like it, you're transferred. And that doesn't help you. That doesn't help us. I mean, so the fit outside of basketball, I think is just essential. So to me, before you commit, you got to ask yourself two questions. Am I going to enjoy playing basketball there? Right? If the answer is yes, awesome. But the second one is, without basketball, am I going to enjoy my time here? If you say no to that question, do not go to that school.
Exactly.
Because something is going to happen, right? You're not going to you're going to disagree with the coach. You're going to get hurt, whatever it is. And then you're miserable and you don't like your fit. And so you have to like the school outside of basketball for you to have a positive 4 years.
Well, and you touched, that's a great point. But one of the other things that I think is extremely important, but for you guys, it's second nature, but it's an important question for me. It's what are you, Carnegie Mellon, what type of alumni and job placement? I mean, for you guys, it's who's who, of course, but a lot of schools, they don't bring that up to say, okay, when these 4 years are over, do we have something in place to help you with your major? Or do we have an internship put together where for you guys, like most of the UAA schools, you guys have paid internships, not the free ones. You got the paid ones. I'm like, oh, where I sign up at for that?
Oh man, you kidding me? They're making more than I do. So,
man, I've heard some of those paid internships are really deep for what, 3 months or so.
Yep. Well, but I mean, having a name of Carnegie Mellon. I mean, it's a name that employers know. It's a name that employers seek. Right. But at the end of the day, I mean, all that CMU's name does is get you in the door. Right. It's up to you to take advantage of it. So, when you talk about these internships and the alums and all that kind of stuff, I mean, our school gives you some connections, but you got to take advantage of it. And I think we prepare, our guys to do that. But really, it's them going out and doing it. And so, them having a great experience in an internship leads to that job offer, which then leads to them being in the alumni base that's going to help our current guys. So you talk about some of the numbers. I mean, just looking over all CMU student athletes over the last 2 years, we have 100% job placement rate. And so, all of our graduates, and that's outside of basketball. I mean, basketball, we have 100% rate, but outside of that, I mean, for all student athletes at Carnegie Mellon, we're 100% career placement rate, and we're making over 50% above the national average in their starting salary. I mean, our starting salary for student athletes is just under $82,000 a year in their first job.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, what's the degree going to do? Are you going to be prepared? You're going to have doors open for you. And we joke in the recruiting process, like, what arguably one of the hardest things, I can't tell kids what opportunities they're going to have because I don't know what they are. Like, you got to get to campus and then you meet people, and all of a sudden these doors start opening. And next thing you know, you have your opportunity in an internship that leads to an offer. And now you have a career ahead of you, right? It's not just a job. I mean, you're not setting yourself up for one job, right? You're putting yourself on a path. And that's an important way to look at it, right? Is not just, can I get a job out of school, right? But where's that job going to lead? Is it a career? Is it something that I can pay off my loans and all of that kind of stuff? So,
well, okay. Go ahead.
So I was just, talking about the alumni base. A lot of schools will talk about the alumni base as a school. And I think that's really important, right? In your major and all that kind of stuff. But I also think it's important when you're looking at a basketball program, what's the alumni base in the program, right? What kind of players are coming back? How involved are they? And what do they do? And so, for us, I mean, we have 45 guys that came back for our alumni weekend last year. So that was 45 guys that flew in from all over the country just to play some pickup and hang out, right? And so, seeing that, and I mean, we have a Google Doc of alumni contact information that our guys have access to. Ever since your freshman year, we have alums that are banging down your door, asking you, where do you want to be? How can I help you get there? Oh, you want to go to med school? Let me start talking to you. Let me help put you on a path. We had a junior this year who was interested in the Chicago area. So he just talked to a bunch of alums that had worked in the Chicago area to learn more about, where do I want to live? Where do I want to work? What are things like? Probably the epitome of alumni connections that I can give is actually a pretty recent one. We have an alumni, Matt Cates, who works for Morgan Stanley on Wall Street. And he's worked there ever since graduation. He's a managing director there now. And he worked with one of our recent graduates when he was in school, Zach Coworth. And Zach was a business major, wanted to get to Wall Street. So he worked with Matt, and Matt helped him. Zach ended up getting an internship at Morgan Stanley over the summer. And then before he left at the end of the summer, he got a job offer, and he actually went to work for Matt Cates at Morgan Stanley. So now we had an alum who helped a current player navigate that path and figure out an internship. But then he hired him. So we have a Tartan working for a Tartan at Morgan Stanley, on Wall Street. I mean, it's just the connections and the way our alumni are involved. It's not something that I personally have seen in a lot of programs. So it's special. And I think that's a really important question to ask, right? It's not just about the alumni base, but what's the basketball alums, right? How are they involved and what do they do for the program and the current players?
Gotcha. Okay. Now you're leading up to my next question. Now, all that's great, all that's grand, but we know everything comes with a price. We know everything comes with a price. Now, in talking to you, I thought it was important to bring you on to say, okay, yes, you can attain this, but I'm going to get the pushback to say that's out of my league because I can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk to kids that are of high academic and have the potential to be a CMU kid, but tuition wise, they're not going to be able to cut it. What can CMU do to get that type of kid?
Well, I'll first tell you that, I never can blame somebody if that's a reasoning. As someone who had to pay off my own loans that weren't quite as much as Carnegie Mellon, I know that I know that feeling. But the first thing that we talk about is just it's the return on investment. And we believe that even though we are more expensive, and I recognize that, having an average starting salary of $82,000 your first year out of college, our alums have proven you can pay that off. And so even if you have to take out a lot of loans, our guys are able to pay that off, and it pays dividends. So, I might be slightly biased, but I think that, I think it's worth the investment if your family is prepared to do that. I mean, that's not a question, that's not an answer I can give, right? It's your decision up from that aspect. In terms of financial aid for us, we do have a few grants and scholarships, but really not much. Being NCAA Division III, we obviously don't have any athletic scholarships, so everything will be academic based. But for the most part, with our financial aid process, it's going to be a need-based. We're a need-based institution. So when you fill out your FAFSA, it comes up with the estimated family contribution, right? And our financial aid office tries to match that as close as we possibly can. So we can't guarantee, what it would be. And it's tough for even me because, I can't sit here and say, oh, you qualify for this amount of money and this, like, it's all dependent on your family's income. And so we have a calculator on our website that we point people to. It's kind of like a mini version of the FAFSA. You kind of fill out some of that info, and it's going to pump out a number that's pretty accurate and close to what your financial.
And that's similar into the one like the Ivies have, right? That calculator that you're referring to.
Yeah, so it's going to look at what what input you'd have in the FAFSA, what that estimated family contribution would be, and then how we would work with matching it. And so anytime a family asks me, brings the cost up, because shocking, it happens a lot. We point them to the calculator, and I just say, hey, you fill this out, and then let me know. Is this something that can work? Is this something that's too far out of the price range? Our admissions team has access when you fill out the calculator. So if you have questions, you can call in and talk line by line, about, hey, what's this mean? Why is this number? Whatever it is. So we can try and help out. But, beyond that, I can't stress enough about kids trying to exhaust every scholarship opportunity in their community. It might be $200, it might be $500, it might be $100. Man, every bit helps.
Adds up. Exactly. So, I agree with you. I definitely agree.
I don't think you can start asking for that stuff too early. Talk to your counselors, be in your newspaper, right? Whatever it is. I mean, there's all the, a lot of places in the community will have little scholarships here and there. Just apply to them. They're going to help. But ultimately, again, it's just, do you as a family believe that the return on investment is worth it? I personally, again, I know I'm slightly biased, but I think our alums have proven that, that a Carnegie Mellon education is, but I'm not the one writing the checks. So it just comes down to, do you feel comfortable putting that up? Because I think it does pay dividends in the long run.
And I think, and with you saying that, I think that's going to be a topic on one of my future shows, to have people come in to show how grants and scholarships really can add up. And outside of, because I've seen people go D3 off of the GI Bill, from their family, so they can afford a Carnegie Mellon. Yes. And I think some people get turned off by Carnegie Mellon because they're like, oh, that's nice, but that's going to be $200,000 in 4 years,
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, that's a lot. But like you say, at the end of the day, you're setting your future up for something that's you'll take to your grave, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, that's where, working at CMU, my job is to get the best players and the best people we can into our program. But at the end of the day, my job is really just helping kids find the best fit. Because again, if it's a money thing, right? I could sit here and tell you it's worth it, convince you to come. But if something happens and it doesn't work for your family, that doesn't help you in the long run, right? I mean, and so, that's a decision that we'll work through with you. We'll talk to you. We'll give you the facts. But, ultimately, that's something that each family needs to talk about. And each kid needs to be ready to say, am I willing to do it, right? Am I willing to take those loans out? I think it's worth it. But again, I'm not cutting the check. And so, you need to be prepared and you need to know what you're getting into. But again, I think if you go into it and you're planned for it, then I do. I think over the next 40 to 50 years after graduation, man, you're going to make all that back very quickly. You're going to pay it off, and then you're going to set yourself yourself up to do really well for yourself in the long run.
So one last question I have as well. Does Carnegie Mellon recruit nationwide?
We do.
Okay. So you're open to the Southeast, the West Coast, the Northeast, Northwest.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We have a nationwide roster.
Okay.
In the last couple of years, we did have a roster that's pretty heavily, Mid-Atlantic, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, kind of area. But, we have a group coming in. We have 5 kids committed so far in our 21 class that they span 4 different states. In those 5 kids, and in our current freshmen, we have 2 kids from California, a kid from Chicago, a kid from Detroit.
Okay.
We've had kids from Florida, we've had kids from Vermont, right? I mean, it's all over. And so, we're looking for the best players, we're looking for the best students, and we're going to go wherever we need to go to find them.
All right. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Hey, Coach
And I
Sloan.
think, well,
Go ahead,
sorry,
go ahead.
I just one more point to that. I mean, I think playing in a nationwide schedule helps, right?
Definitely.
I
And then again, that UAA schedule definitely helps you guys.
We get a kid from down in your area, right? Where you're coming all the way to Pittsburgh to
that
to
speaks
play.
something. That says something. Yeah,
you're gonna have a home game, right? When we come to Atlanta and play. And so
you're right.
When we go to Chicago, I mean, we have a couple guys from the Chicago area. They get a home game, right?
That's
every year they know they're going home.
Chicago's in the UAA, right? University of Chicago, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. And like I said, and it's an experience that sometimes it's not for everybody, but from a perspective, a future perspective, man, you can't beat CMU when it comes to that. I mean, like you said, that name speaks for itself. And I just wanted to bring you on the show just to enlighten people of what CMU can do, and what it can do, and the possibilities of it, especially from a D3 perspective. And when people would understand, if they could see what CMU can do and how they travel, and then when they compared that to a low Division I, they'd be like, man, this is a lot better than a low D1 in a lot of aspects. I'm not sitting up here saying you guys are going to beat a D1. That day will come one day. That day will come.
Well, listen, the first thing I say, I mean, I will never fault a kid, right, who we're talking to, and then he gets a scholarship offer and he goes to Division I, right? I mean, some kids are like nervous, like, oh, I don't want to take. Man, you got an opportunity to do that, right? Like, that's awesome. You're getting school paid for. You're playing Division I. Like, that's a dream, and I understand it. But my argument is always, I've seen too many kids that take an offer. It's not even a full ride, right? They take an offer to take an offer. They might not love the school. They might not see a perfect fit, but it's that dream of Division I. And for us, I mean, we have Division I facilities. We have a Division I support system. We travel like a Division I team, right?
Yeah.
We are going to give you the best of both worlds. And arguably, we have a better education, right? Than a lot. I mean, you look at the UAA conference, there's 4 schools, right, that are ranked in the top. I mean, we're number 26 in the country in terms of colleges, and there's a couple of UAA schools ranked above us. And so when you look at the ability to get a top-notch education, to play top talent, right, and to a lot of these kids be an impact player, like I think adding those things together, I think going UAA or going the top tier Division III, like there's a lot of benefits that I think a lot of kids miss, and they don't see until they open their eyes and look at it. And so I would encourage people to just cast a wide net, right? Start looking at places, see if you like it. If you don't like it, great, you move on, right? But you never really know until you take a chance to hop on the website or talk to the coach and see what it's like.
And that's what I was just getting ready to touch. How could somebody that is interested in CMU that is not being looked at? I mean, are you guys accessible to answer those type of questions for prospective, athletes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So all of my contact information is on our website. So you can hop on there and feel free to shoot me an email. and reach out. Anybody interested can fill out our recruiting questionnaire that's on our website. That's the first step for us in the recruiting process, because we want to see transcripts, if you have test scores, right? Because we need to look at all that. And so we try and do that before we have a first conversation with kids, just so we can go into that conversation knowing the full foundation of where you're at. Absolutely, we'll answer. I'll answer any questions that people have if they reach out, whether it's about us or about the recruiting process, in general.
Okay.
The other thing I do want to just touch on a little. I know Dr. Hart was talking about the path of kids and when they want to get on, making sure classes are aligned and all that kind of stuff, right? And I know he's talking a little bit more with the eligibility stuff in terms of the scholarship level. Division III, we don't have, it's institution by institution for eligibility. But the one thing I would say, especially a high academic school like us, I think it's really important for kids to start thinking about the path they want to be on in terms of schools they want to go to. And the reason I say that, we run into a lot of kids that are really intelligent, but we require, we want calculus. And so not every kid gets into calculus, or, not every kid's on track to take AP physics or whatever it is. And so I think it's really important that, I don't know, as a 9th or 10th grader, right? Now, obviously, you probably have no idea what you want to be when you grow up or what you want to major in, right? But think about the schools you might want to go to. And the reason I say that is, you talked about some guidance counselors and stuff like that. I mean, not every counselor is going to know where you want to be. And so if you're a 9th grader and say, hey, my goal is to go to, Yale or Carnegie Mellon or that kind of school, well, you better make sure you're looking at what the requirements are, right? And so you have enough time to catch up. I can't tell you how many kids we talk to now as 11th graders who they're not on pace to take calculus. There was somebody that we talked to last year who he had 1480, I think, on the SAT, but he wasn't going to have calculus, and so
you couldn't take him.
He wasn't going to be a good candidate for admissions because his transcript rigor wasn't there, and so and so again, I mean the kid's really intelligent, but that's hard, and that's not his fault, right? I just think you see somebody like that, and you just think the earlier you can pick those schools you want to get to, and then go through their requirements, right? That matters. Now, he has some great opportunities with some really great schools, and it didn't work out for us, but he's going to have some awesome opportunities, right? So the kid is going to be fine. But I just say that because I know everybody has dream schools, right? I did when I was looking. So if you have those schools, get on the website, see what the standards are, and make sure it matches. Make sure you're on pace to fit that, so that you're not checking a school off your list because you didn't take a certain class, even though you might have a GPA and a test score.
That's an excellent point that I just would have assumed with a 1480, I'm walking in any school with that.
Well, and a lot of schools you are, and I'm not saying that, hey, right off the bat, you're out, right, for us, but there are certain classes I know we look for that are really important. And so even if, we might not say, hey, you're done because you don't have this one class, well, it's an uphill battle. And you might not be a great candidate because things don't match in terms of overall rigor, even though you've done well. And so I just think, and again, I mean, if you might look at us and say, okay, that's great. Well, no other school I'm looking at needs it. You guys are out. Well, guess what? We've done our job to help you find a fit, right?
Definitely. I agree.
And so I just think the earlier you can look at that, the better, because that's going to make sure that you're not canceling out schools you want to be at for reasons that you don't know, right? You're just
no matter what the level, too. No matter what the level.
Exactly. And that's it. I mean, the more you can do early to just get your radar, right? Know the schools you want to be at, what is required. The eligibility issues for Division I is huge. The more bases you can mark off, right? The more options you're going to have when you get to that point. So, listen, you might hit senior year and you're applying to schools and you're like, no, Carnegie Mellon's not the school for me. But guess what? We were in the game.
The process, though, like you just said, you just vetted the process. So, and that's a great point you just brought up, whether it's Carnegie Mellon or UAA, it doesn't matter. You vetted the process to say, hey, I've looked at this school and I've said, you know what? This isn't a fit for me. And it might have been, like you just said, it might have been one of my dream schools, right?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And that's arguably, that's the most important, right? I mean, we talk a lot, and I tell kids, every kid early in the process, right? Everyone around him is like, you got to be open-minded, look at every school, don't have your list of do's and don'ts, right? Like, I don't agree with that. I think you have to have a list of things you like and don't like, because I think you look at every school, right? You have to be open to it. But if you aren't paying attention to what you like and don't like, you're not going to be efficient in the process, and it's gonna take you over. Because looking at schools, especially in the recruiting process as a student athlete, man, it's crazy. It's hectic. It's busy, right? You're talking to all these schools, all these coaches, trying to keep things straight. So, for example, if you say, hey, I want a city school, I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere. Well, if you're not paying attention to that, you're spending all this time talking to schools in the middle of nowhere that you're not going to choose. Well, that's not helping you be in control of your process.
That's an excellent point. That's a good point.
I talk to kids all the time about you need to be open, but you better be making a list as you look at schools. What do you like? What are some things that you want to ask the next school? What are some things that you don't like and you want to make sure isn't there? And then ultimately, I mean, let's be honest. You're never going to find the perfect school that has all likes and no dislikes.
Every check mark. No, you're not. You're not.
And so it's figuring out, your non-negotiables. What are things that you have to have or can't have, right? And then what are the things you can live with? Because it's important. And that's going to help you be in control of your recruiting process, which ultimately will be it's going to be a lot less stressful by the end of it if you do it that way.
Hopefully. Hey, man, that's some great information you gave. And man, I can appreciate you a lot for coming on to the show. I mean, I already knew about CMU, but I wanted more people to know about CMU as well, and what it can and what it can't do as well. And you pretty much gave that no holds barred. This is us in a nutshell. You know what I mean?
That's the way we operate. I mean, we're going to tell you who we are. We're going to tell you what we do, and if you like us, awesome. Let's go do it. But if it's not a fit, it's not a fit, and that's something that we take very seriously, because at Carnegie Mellon we need the right guys. We have a 317 GPA for a reason. We our guys, the chemistry and team chemistry from a coach, take it with a grain of salt. All right. No coach is ever going to get out in front of people and be like, our guys hate each other and they're miserable. Right. But, we love the guys we have, and it's because we get guys that want to be here, and we get guys that fit who we are and what we do. And so conversely, I think it's really important that kids find a school and a coaching staff and a basketball program that fit who they want to be and where they want to get to. And if that happens, man, you're going to have a hell of a 4 years. You're going to win a few games, and you're going to look back at your college experience with a lot of love. But if you don't find it, it's going to be a miserable 4 years. And
you may be transferring too.
You probably will. In this day and age, you're probably going to be moving on, which just doesn't help. And so we try and find that fit. And again, I mean, my goal is to help help kids find a fit. If it's with us, great. If it's not, we're gonna do what we can to help them find there.
Sounds like a plan. Coach Sloan, as always, when I get up there, I got to come check out a practice, man. Definitely.
Hey, you're welcome anytime. Just let me know. And anybody who has questions, or if you talk to anybody that has questions or just wants to reach out, my contact information's on the website. Let me know, and I'll help you as much as I can.
I appreciate it, man. And definitely thank you again for coming on the show, man. It was definitely a pleasure having you, man. You take it easy, okay?
All righty. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right. Take care. I hope that helps some of the people today. Today was definitely an educational show. I know everybody wants to see highlights, this, that, and the third, but we as a people in the athletic community have to understand this process. And the process, as we can see, can be rigorous. Whether you go to a high academic, whether you go to, a regular school, or even your schools that are not top of the list, they have some very strict policies that you need to adhere to. That's why I had Dr. Hart on the show, so people can understand, listen, you need to have your affairs in order. If you do not have your affairs in order, you're going to get to your senior year and you're going to say, I didn't know. And we don't want that for anybody out here. So next up, it's that time where our unsigned hype, it's that time. Joe,
What's going on, Mr. Jones?
what's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, we good. Still working. Just dropped the underrated gems this morning, and
Okay.
been trying to give all the feedback I can on to a lot of coaches. Actually got a kid to offer. I don't know if he got it right now, but
It's in the
one of these.
making.
One of the kids about to get an offer tonight.
Tonight?
I can't say the name right now. I gotta wait.
Let it drop on your Twitter feed, man. Let it
Yeah,
drop.
I
Keep
can't really.
everybody hungry for it.
Yeah, so like just working, and I'm kind of mad because I thought I sent Dre my fourth one, but I didn't. I'm gonna make sure that I send it to him ASAP so I can have that on the show for Sunday.
Okay.
I mean for Monday.
Well, as always, brother, I'm gonna let you kick it off first. I know you definitely got some gems out there. Go ahead and let me know what you got out there, man. Let everybody out here know.
I got a 2023 prospect, Crystal Henderson out of Cale High School. Man, it's Scoot Henderson's little sister.
Okay.
If you don't know who Scoot Henderson is, then you ain't from Georgia. I can just say that much right there. But hey, man, I think she's a problem. I mean, and I'm saying a lot. I'm probably saying what a lot of people in the city are saying. But like when I looked at her film, I didn't see her with any offers, and maybe she doesn't share that, or maybe college coaches don't offer 2023s. But
Nah, that's not true. On the women's side, they offer a lot earlier. They just have to
hey,
go
man,
about it a little different.
hey, she should have every D1 offer in the state. I mean, every D1 offer in the country.
Okay.
That's just how I feel about her. That's her right there too. Look at where she's shooting from.
Dang.
Look at what she a bucket. Hey, if you can hear the commentary on that right now, you'll laugh too. Look at her. It goes straight through the net. It don't even hit nothing but net. Just go straight through it. Oh, she got moves too. She shifted. Real shifty too.
And you said she 2023, Duke?
2023.
Okay.
The ball go through. It don't even touch the rim when she shoot it. And like for me, I look at it like told you she shifted. I look at it more so if you can put the ball in the rack, shooting is universal, man. She's tough.
Definitely. She at Cal with a Maya Marston, right?
She's at Cal with a Maya Moss too.
Man, that team, man.
I think they're gonna be loaded, like for real. Look at how she shooting it. Yeah.
Man. That's
I
tough
think that's
right
it,
there.
right? I wish I couldn't even find nothing longer because I wanted to watch more. Like I really want to really see how she worked. And she's 2023. Like ever since I went to the pro movement camp for the girls, like I've been in tune to the girl side of basketball in the state. Like I see because they like they're different. They play hard. Girls play so much harder.
Okay.
And I
Who
like
else you got, Drew? Who else you got?
I got a 6'6" guard that's at a JUCO. I think he plays at Iowa Southwest. Manuel. I don't know. I don't want to say his name wrong. I just think it comes across the screen because I don't want to butcher his name because I think he's from Australia or somewhere close to that. He's Ken the Thon Maker and that's his cousin. But like he can shoot the three. He can probably play the 3 and 4 at 6'6". He's got a nice physical body. Like him a lot too. Especially any coaches looking for a kid out of JUCO that's tough and got a good bloodline. Like this kid is different. And I thought I featured him on Underrated Gems, but I didn't. And I'm going to feature him on my JUCO edition too.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay, nice little range. Shifty Euro step. Okay.
And that's 6'6".
Okay.
Oh, he shot 35% from the 3 too this past season. He'll be a sophomore. All love, D-Love. Watch him move without the ball. Find his space.
Got them feet set.
And he play hard. Like, he runs the floor hard. I asked somebody about him, and they said he plays hard.
Okay.
Coaches always say they're looking for JUCO prospects, man. This is one. If you don't know about them right now, you should get to know them.
You got a nice little shot. Can see the floor. Nice vision. Nice little D.
Mm-hmm. When I find them, Mr. Jones, I find them. I don't ask nobody no questions. I just find them or they find me. And I'll take them. And he doesn't do like nothing extra. He just plays the game hard and plays it the right way. And he plays hard on D.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I like him
Who
a
else
lot.
you got, bro? Who else you
Last
got going?
one, man, I feel like this kid is one of the best shooters in the state for 2022. No disrespect to anybody else. I haven't watched a lot of 22 kids, but when I watch this kid, Thomas Allen, on film, like, yeah, he can really shoot the ball. And what I say, shooting is universal. So just by the way he's shooting the ball as a junior, by the time he's a senior, he should really, really be that guy. I think Thomas Allen is like 6'6", a 6'6" junior. I forgot what school he plays at. I have that, but he can shoot the 3, shift it, and he plays with a lot of flair too. I just like how he plays, like just I like him a lot, man. I've been on Thomas Allen for a while. Coach Rideout actually introduced me to him.
Okay.
And, man, hey, yeah. Yeah, wait till you see how he shoot it. I ain't gonna say too much, man.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Oh yeah, he tough.
Spot up. Yeah.
I might get in trouble for showing his film too.
Why?
Because I had some guys that liked him a lot, but like I gotta keep going, man. I gotta make sure they know what's going on.
Hey, man, listen. It's your job to get these folks out here, man. It's on both of us. Yeah, we're gonna have some coaches. Oh man, why you show him? Man, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
He plays at North Gwinnett High School. Look at him. Wow, he be ready to shoot, man. And he's 6'6". And let me make sure I say that right.
Is anybody looking at him, Drew?
Oh man, I'll tell you off the screen. I'll tell you off the screen.
Okay. Okay. What's his grades looking like?
He actually he's like I can tell you that right now.
He got a clip.
Yes, he do. He got a 4.0 GPA.
Oh man. Hey, Coach Sloan, I know you're still out there.
Hey, I got a 4.0 GPA, man. Hey, this kid is bad at, like, I'm telling you right now, coaches gotta get up. Coaches have to step up and get on this kid, man.
And he's what, 2022 or 2021?
He's 2022. He's actually played with like Robert Dix and Jaleel Rideout, a couple of those guys on the circuit. And like, he's been killing all summer, but like I featured him I didn't have a lot of film on him at first, but just though that 45-second film that I had, I knew he was gonna be special. And then he went to, I think, what is it? The Relentless Hoops camp.
Okay, with Trent.
Yeah. he shot the hell out the ball down there. And we talk about this a lot. I say this every time I get on this show. Shooting translates to the college game, and this kid can shoot the hell out the ball.
Yeah, he got an extra clip for real. He got an extra clip, no question. Hey man, I appreciate that. Hey, look, my little couple got to step their game up when somebody got a clip like that, Juke. You know what I'm saying? So my first one I actually saw this weekend, and it was brought to my attention about a week ago. Man, the funny thing about this whole thing that we're doing, man, people get on this show and get on the radar because people are like, who? Or they'll be like, oh, he's okay. And then they end up taking it to the next level. So the first person I got, man, is Jordan James from Kennesaw Mountain, man. Just saw the kid for the first time the other day. And the funny thing about Jordan was, he was putting up numbers, but, there's no knock to Kennesaw Mountain. Everybody's like, well, nobody knows that much about Kennesaw Mountain. Well, Perry Robinson ended that last year, and I think Jordan's going to be another one that's going to be a sleeper in this 2021. He's a 6'2" guard with a 3.9 GPA. He hit Lassiter for 27. He hit Wheeler for 32. Yeah, exactly. But I look at it like he's going to be better served on that D2 to NAIA where he's really going to eat. And that's no knock on the kid, but looking at what he can do, along with those grades as well, the 3.94, I think D2s and NAIs will get a steal on this kid. Let's see what we're working with here.
Jordan James. Oh.
And he's a big body. He's a big body guard, too. And he's a lefty. And, I got affinities for lefties. Us left-handers got to stick together. You know what I'm saying?
You talk about lefties all the time.
We got to stick together.
Kennesaw Mountain?
Definitely a sleeper, Juke. Definitely a sleeper.
Kennesaw Mountain?
Kennesaw Mountain, brother. Shifty, can shoot as a lefty. I like him. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be one of those prospects that D2s and NAIs are going to be really happy with. Really happy.
I'm writing that name down right now.
Oh, definitely.
I'm just writing the name
down. Definitely, man. When I saw him, I was like, man, people better get on the program with him. And like I said, he's high academics, so I know those high academics are going to jump on him. I know they are.
3.9?
3.94, 2 B's in all of high school, bro.
I'm listening. I'm gonna shoot somebody a tit right quick.
Okay. Next one I got coming up. He's going to get a lot of attention because he's 6'9" and he can move. You got Cameron Thomas from Cherokee. It's Corey Thomas. I'm sorry, Corey. Corey Thomas from Cherokee Bluff High School. 6'9". He can move. And when he gets a little stronger, listen, he's going to be a low. He's already a low because he's versatile at 6'9". This brother can play, man. Go ahead and roll the tape on him, man.
Let me look at this right quick.
Yes, sir.
6'9",
yes,
man.
sir.
Come here.
And he can handle that rock, too, at 6'9", too, man.
Hold on. Wait.
Yes, sir.
You didn't say that.
Sir.
I wasn't expecting to see him do that.
Yes, sir. And I think he still is coming into his own still. Can dime the whole, like I said, man, people sleeping on him, man.
Oh, wait.
Yes, sir.
What's his name?
His name is Corey Thomas, 2021 Cherokee Bluff, 6'9" forward, brother. I fully expect after this show, Juke, we will be getting some calls. Like I said, with the right work with this young man right there, I'm like, man, somebody gonna have something. Juke, Get off that pen and paper. Get off that pen and paper, Juke.
Hey, you got your plan. I got it. Hey, I'm for real. I'm on it already.
Now, with that being said, Juke, you know we've been pushing, and this means a lot to me as well. I got 3 girls this week, man. I got 3 of them.
Okay.
So my first one is Deja Hawk out of TW Josie in Augusta. So her coach put me on to her, and I was like, man, hold on. Who's this point guard that's nice with it? So I want you to take a look at this. She's a 5'4" guard with a 3.2 GPA. And, you know, I talked to her recently, and she said some D2s, D3s, and NAIs have been talking to her, but they haven't really made a move yet. And I'm like, somebody better do something. So we're going to go ahead and roll the tape, man.
You've been hanging in Augusta the last 2 weekends.
Yes, sir. Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah, you've been hanging in Augusta too long. No.
Hey, shout out to Chad Cook, man. Chad Cook does an excellent job in Augusta, man. Just like Kawasi down in Macon, man, he opened my eyes. And we just had a little small problem with the rest of her tape getting hung up. But like I said, I'll be telling some more people about her without a doubt. She can play, man. And like I said, she can run the show because they got another D1 prospect that I featured last week, man.
So I know what's going on.
Hey, bro, TW Josie got some killers, man. And I was like, listen, this isn't just about Atlanta. When I see somebody that can play, I don't care if you down there in the weeds in Georgia. I'm gonna show you love. That's the end of it, man. This is one Georgia like we've been talking about. We got to stick to that, man. My next one is an interesting prospect.
No, they got it.
We're gonna go ahead and show it again. Okay.
What's her name again?
Her name is Deja Hawk. So her first name is Deajah, Juke, and her last name is Hawk, Houck, at TW Josie in Augusta.
Okay.
Like I said, look at that. Up, give me that. Mahal at you. And she will lock you down on D too. Will lock you down.
Hey man, them girls that play ball at Josie, they be tough.
Yeah, I know, man. They got a tough program, man. Definitely tough program.
Like they bully you. Like they bully you, bro. They've been doing
that. Look at that, bro. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at the whole team.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you. Man, you can't sleep on that squad for real. I mean, they be tough, man. They be tough.
I'm telling you, man, them girls at Josie, they for real.
Hey, you better come with your dinner ready, or it's gonna get took. Look at that, Don. Give me that. So, you know, like I said, man, I definitely wanted to show her love, man, because it's somebody gonna get her. Let's just put it like that. Somebody's gonna get her. She is a definite a college level guard, hands down, on both ends. On both ends. Now, my next one, I stepped out of Georgia. This is my international product because she reached out to me. And I was like, okay, let me see what you're talking about here. She's out of Canada. Her name is Shamira Samuels out of Crestwood Prep in Toronto. And I was like, okay, let me see what you're talking about. Juke, wait till you see this footwork, brother. She's 6'2" with a 4.0 GPA.
I like them 6'2". I like them 6'2" bigs for the women's side.
Bro,
especially with good footwork.
And with good footwork. I was like, man, somebody gonna get her.
She a lefty or nah?
She a lefty. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe.
I see. Yeah, I see what you got going on.
And she, like I said, when she reached out to me, you know, I get a lot of these, and you know, I love to show everybody, but I can't all the time. But I said, well, wait a minute, hold on a second here. I said, a lefty with some footwork at 6'2", 4.0. And as of right now, oh, look at that. Little dream shake. You see that, Juke? Little dream shake. Come get that. So, man, the crazy part, how about I just put her out there and only one school so far has reached out. And I'm thinking, boy, somebody crazy if they miss out on her. At 6'2" with a 4.0 and can move like that down low, yeah, okay. We'll be getting some more calls, Juke. Trust me, brother. We'll be getting some more calls. Trust me. Trust me. My last one, and this one's out of state too. And I met the mom when she reached out to me, and I said, man, this young lady can play. And I'm like, nobody's hardly looking at her. But as of recently, and thank goodness, as of recently, people are starting to pay attention that this young lady can play. Her name is Kayla Presley from San Marcos High in San Marcos, Texas, man. Listen, bro, this young lady can go. 5'7" shooting guard, a 3.3 GPA, brother. And she's tough. She's tough. So she just recently, and congratulations to her, she just recently got a D2 offer. But I would like to say when it's all over with, she'll probably have a couple more of them easily. Easily.
You said 5'7"?
5'7", yep.
She moves too. She look like she look quick on the fan.
Yeah. And that's what this whole segment is supposed to be about, Jude. We're supposed to put people out there to say, hey, world, this player can go. And it's not always that they're going to get something, but a lot of times when we put a stamp on it, it definitely gets more attention. And that's what this is supposed to be about. Good student, and I'm going to say this, it's quite evident that her community loves her. Man, when I posted her stuff, Juke, she had about 50 people like within about 4 hours. I was like, oh, she must be popular down there.
And what is school at?
It's in Texas. It's right outside of San Antonio in Texas, San Marcos.
Oh, you be digging deep into the roots, huh? I know that. I do. I know baby's saying stuff about me, but you be digging deep in the roots.
I got one more, man, and definitely got to show love to my man, Coach Graham, down there in Florida at T-Lap. T-Lap came up to Atlanta this weekend, and this is another one. Even Dre signed off on because Dre liked this young brother too. His name is Nigel Verdier, and he plays for a T-Lap post grad down in Florida. Nigel's about 6'5" in that range. Man, listen, people need to get up on this brother, man. Plays extremely hard, locks down on D. And like I said, when T-Lap came up this weekend, unfortunately there was a marquee game that didn't happen, but they got to play some other teams as well. And shout out to CBA too. CBA Atlanta, Juke. You gotta see them, man. That's a underrepresented post grad in Atlanta that plays extremely hard. Shout out to JB and the crew out there, man. Hey, I like what y'all doing, brothers. Definitely like what y'all doing. They went under another name last year, but they found their roots with CBA. And we're just gonna run the tape on Nigel. This is my last one.
Ooh. Okay. When they play TSL?
It was supposed to be this weekend, but it didn't happen. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Don't sleep on it.
Oh, okay.
And he got range. Give me that.
Man, y'all, hey, my guy from Hardwood Highlights, he said he enjoyed filming those guys. He said they had some players on their team.
Oh, yeah, trust me. Dre said the same thing too. Man, this guy's tough right here, man. I'm telling you. He's tough, and he locked down on D too, brother.
Nigel what?
Oh, Nigel Verdier. Trust me. People better get on board with this one.
What school's on them right now?
Man, you'd be surprised, man. I mean, he's wide open still. Like, people are missing the boat on this young brother, man. I'm telling you.
I got to start looking at this with you.
Man, come on up, man. Come on up and see some of these post-grads, man. They got some players, man. They got some players, and T-Lap plays tough, man. They got players. They play hard on D, as you can see, man. He got range. He's athletic. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm going to be real. The team that he had last year, he probably had like one or maybe two guys that I was impressed by.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like he went and reloaded on with a team.
That's an understatement. Well, you gotta understand, man. All of them kids are almost placed, man. Ooh. Well, we showed that one. That was a pass, but that's Jaquan Scott. He's a whole nother animal in itself. Ooh.
When we was at the when I first met you, when we was at McEachern, and they had the JUCO just showcase.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. He had the BJ Comer kid.
Yes, yeah.
And he had another kid with like long like dreads, and like they beat out. That was when I was at Middle Georgia Prep, and they beat us. I know because we were up by like 12 or 15. So I'm not saying he didn't have no players last year, but this year,
yeah, this year's a different animal.
Loaded, like he really went and picked up some guys.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Coach Bramlett, he got some killers this year, man. Definitely got some killers. Oh yeah, man. Definitely holler at him, man. He waiting on your call, brother. He waiting on your call. So, with that being said, that's all I had on the unsigned hype for this weekend. I think we definitely got some jewels. Juke has some. I think I have some. Coaches, I mean, our phones are open for all of these kids. Definitely our phones are open.
Mine always open. You can call me anytime. Find me.
Juke, did you have any shout outs this weekend? Anybody you want to shout out?
Man, to Dre, bro. Shout out to Dre, man. Dre been putting me on, having me on the show. Shout out to you too, Mr. Jones. And shout out to just everybody, bro. Everybody that's following the program, man. Hey, just a blessing in itself, bro. For real, for real. I had a good time last night with Tat, KP, and Charles. Like, I enjoyed them last night. They had me on. So, like, bro, just thankful for all of that. But, hey, make sure you follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Coach Juke. It's Coach Juke on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, man. Anybody, I just dropped a hit underrated gems today, and there's a lot of special kids on there. So check me out and let's get to work, man. You got any kids that need help? I try my best to get to them, just like Mr. Jones said. It's hard, but like, man, I try to answer every DM I can answer, man, when I have time. So just if I don't get with you right then, just understand I'm gonna get with you.
Definitely. Man, I want to shout out a player this week, man. When I say his stock is rising, he was brought to my attention as baby Westbrook. I'm going to shout out Jens Rucker, man, because the way he been playing at South Cobb, bro, listen, he playing like he got something to prove. And, man, I see you, brother. I definitely see you. Keep doing your thing, man. There's a lot of people looking. Trust me.
He's tough. Hey, I like him a lot. And he dropped 12 points after having surgery on a broken nose.
Yeah, on a broken nose. Definitely.
And Mr. Jones, shout out to, and I got to give him a shout out. Shout out to DJ Wright from Greene County High School. Okay. He's at Hampton Sydney right now here as a freshman. And he tore his ACL 2 years ago.
Okay.
And from the texts that I've been getting from just the people that are there, he looks like a different kind of animal right now. So salute to him. And I say that for any kid that watches the show. Like, if you're going through if you got like a injury, a season-ending injury, like, look at DJ Wright's story, man. figured out a way to make it work. He trained, healed up, and now he's able to play basketball for a great program at that. And it's a Division III program that's well known. So, like, it's not about where you go. It's about how you play when you go to where you go. That's how I look at it, man. So salute to him and the work he's been putting in, man.
Definitely good point. Juke, one thing I wanted to mention up real quick, we got a couple minutes left. The upcoming showcases, definitely I'm speaking for myself. I'm getting ready to hit the Lemon Street Classic up at Marietta High. Definitely some good teams. I get to see what everybody be talking about over at Zach Bell from Grovetown. I'm getting a chance to see him. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, I hope y'all seen that video. Hey,
yeah.
I hope y'all seen that video.
This is some good teams. There's going to be some good teams in Lemon Street Classic, so I'm going to definitely check that out. And I'm getting ready to make a trip down to IMG, man. Check out the IMG Post-Grad Classic, man.
Ooh.
Yeah. T-Lap going to be down there, Central Point, Mount Vernon. Man, there's going to be some killers down there, man. So I'll be coming back screaming and hollering about that one. Trust me.
You'll have some video. We're probably going to catch a whole bunch of program videos.
No question, man. And, like I said, man, I want to thank everybody that came out, that watched the show, the loyal listeners that come on every week. Definitely a special thank you to Dr. Hart. Special thank you to Coach Sloan. Y'all definitely dropped some gems. And like I said, this was more of an educational piece to, Juke, we show all the kids, but we also got to let people know, man, you got to handle your business in the classroom too. And on these test scores, man, definitely. So anything you want to say?
Umar Rashid. And that's how you say it, man?
Oh, yeah.
That man got a 4.5 GPA.
Yeah, 4.5 with a 33. Remember I told you he got the offer with MIT?
I remember that, but like when I featured him on the underrated gems, it really caught my eye. Like he got a 33 on the ACT and he got a 4.5 GPA. Like that's different.
In advanced classes, not just the regular ones, advanced classes, man.
So he'll probably be like when he gets to college, he'll probably be like a sophomore in college or something.
Depending on how many advanced AP classes he took, yeah, you're right. I mean, if he goes to school in the summertime, he very well could be close to a sophomore.
That's crazy. But it's great. That's a great thing.
Yeah, that's great. And we need to see more of that, man. We need to see more of that. Definitely.
Hey, Mr. Zoe, that man got a 4.5. Hey, him, Jordan Brown, and the Thomas Allen kid we were just talking about. Like they have the
high academics.
The high academics to play in the school. So that's a great opportunity for them. So nothing wrong with it.
And Jordan Brown, I look at that, man. I mean, him and Umar are late bloomers. You get what I'm saying? I mean, you can see it, but people are just catching on, and we looking like, man, y'all should have been on this train for real.
I've been on Jordan Brown since he was 15.
Man,
I thought he was in the 11th grade when he came to Open Run. He was just in the 9th grade. So,
and Umar's just really coming into his own, man. He didn't have a string of 20-point games, 10 rebounds or more. I'm like, man,
double machine. He'll double machine.
Yeah. And
somewhere Bryce is smiling.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Salute to Bryce too, man, because he got a great group of kids.
Well, he does a great job. The Canes do a great job, and man, we got to shout out independent, AAU programs as well, because man, these guys are putting in the work to get these kids noticed. It's not always about the shoe teams, man, and it's no knock to any shoe team, because we got love for the shoe teams that represent Atlanta, just like the independent ones. It's just about, we getting everybody on. And Julio said it best, man. Atlanta is so good that we could have 7 or 8 teams between shoe teams and independents, and probably even more on 17U, and have our own circuit.
I agree with that all the way.
Yeah.
I agree with that all the way.
When I first saw that comment on Twitter, I thought about it and I said, you know what? He's right. He's really right. I mean, because we go with the Canes, AC Georgia, Infinite Skills. We got what?
All-Stars.
Who? What? Warner Robin All-Stars. That's 4 right there. And please forgive me if I did not mention you in that first 4. That's no knock. And then you add the shoe teams. That's already 8 right there. It's already 8. And so we could probably go 10 to 12 deep easily.
No problem.
We're going to wrap up the show tonight, man. You know, I apologize. We had some technical difficulties starting off the show by no fault of our own. StreamYard showed us some love and told us what the deal was. So we still rocking with them. Again, to our guests that came on to the show, man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the listeners. Man, next week we got a good show as well. We got some more coaches coming on. We're just going to keep this thing moving. We got a D3 coach and a post-grad coach coming. I'll reveal it in the next day or so as to who's going to be on the show. And definitely Juke going to be on the show again with them underrated gems. I'm going to be out there with the hidden gems. Definitely.
Zach Bell, man. Zach Bell. That's what I'm on. Zach Bell. I'm going to boot my boy stock up real soon. But hey, I do got to tell you something, though.
He don't even need that, man. He don't even need that, Juke. He really don't, man, because I think after Lemon Street, I think everybody going to know who Zach Bell is, bro. For real.
See that
he going to know.
You ain't even got to say it. I'm telling you that now.
Oh, Coach Allen? Yeah. I mean, that's real, man. That's real. But we're going to wrap the show up tonight, man. And, man, I just saw what you said, man. Ooh. Yeah. We'll talk about that after the show. But, man, thank y'all for coming out, man. I appreciate all of you all, man. Definitely it's one Georgia and it's one love, man. We out.